Woo! Dun 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 dun. Woo! Who is this? This is 16, 17-time world champion, greatest wrestler of all time, Ric Flair. And why do I have a picture of Ric Flair up? Because we're going to talk about heat. We're going to talk about generating heat. We're going to talk about a man who has been able to generate both positive and negative heat in the professional wrestling world for decades. And why are we talking about heat? Why are we talking about Ric Flair? Why are we talking about attention? Well, because we're talking about this. This announcement from Catalyst Games that came out earlier this week that has got the interweb in an uproar. Our panties are in a twist. Oh, how dare you say these things. So Catalyst Games, who are Catalyst Games? Well, they do some stuff for a game you might have heard of called BattleTech, and they do stuff for a game you might have heard of called Shadowrun. Company has remained pretty much under the radar. I think this is the most news press they've gotten in years. Wow. Thank you for all the free press and attention you gave us, guys. Who knew? So they changed their community guidelines to reflect the current political stance of the gaming world, which of course got a lot of people upset. And then that led to some more things. And I don't know how many of these are true. I don't know what they aren't true. I just know that before the ink was dry on this announcement, people on the interweb, the Twitter, were in an uproar. For the usual reasons, some positive, some negative, some on the one side of the fence, some on the other side of the fence. This announcement gave people more fuel for the never-ending trash fire that is the tabletop role-playing game community. And then, when people tried to respond to this post, they went ban crazy. At least that's what we're being told, and from some of the evidence, it seems to be true. Rather than discussing this change or having an open dialogue, the people over at Cadillac, I'm probably going to say that again, went ban crazy. You get a ban, you get a ban, you get a ban. Everybody look at under your seats. Everybody in the audience gets a ban. Well, this would seem to be a really horrible choice. You make this decision. You come out with this pointless post. I'll get to that in a second. And then when people question your choice, and things that may or may not have happened because of this choice, rather than providing good customer service, you ban them. And by banning these people, you earned yourself a lot of attention, a lot of heat. Now, once again, I just want to say that in regards to the world of the tabletop role-playing game community, this is the most heat this company has received in a long time. This is the most attention they've received in a long time. By doing this, we have given them a ton of free press. Now, here's what I meant when I said utterly pointless post. And this goes back to stuff I've said before in the past, especially over the last year. Unless you are somehow living under a rock in the tabletop role-playing game community, you are aware of the various controversies that have swept the tabletop role-playing game community over the last couple of years. If you're a game company, you know what's going on in the tabletop role-playing game community. There is no way you're not aware. Why am I showing this? Because this is MJF, and he is the current king of getting heat from pro wrestling fans. Some of you might find this a little homoerogenous, so we're going to get rid of MJF. But again, just want to bring that up as an example of getting heat. All right, so you would think Catalyst Games would be aware of these stories, would be aware of how the tabletop role-playing game community has treated things like this over the last few years. You would then probably know that there is a right way and a wrong way to address the tabletop role-playing game community with something like this. And they chose this way. And they had to know that no matter what they said, there would be a response. And they had to know by choosing this wording, there would definitely be a response, because they said things like everybody get along, diversity, blah, 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 blah. All the things we're upset about are not upset about. They chose wording that had already gotten other game companies in trouble. This got them attention. This got them free heat. And when people responded, they banned them. They didn't even bother to give anything regarding explanations of their choice. People were just banned, which led to more negative commentary, which led to more, repeat after me, free heat. Now, there was absolutely no reason for Catalyst Games to release this press statement and to phrase it in the way they did. Chances are, whatever Catalyst Games' political stance was on Sunday, it was going to be the exact same political stance on Monday and the exact same political stance on Tuesday. Doesn't matter where they stood in the spectrum, chances are they did not change their political stance overnight. If you are an employee of Catalyst Games, you're probably aware of their political and philosophical stances regarding things like gender, sexuality, discrimination. Why? Because these companies are required to post them on the walls in places the employees can see them. And if they don't post these, they receive a huge fine from OSHA. You have to have that stupid thing that's on the wall of every business everywhere, saying the things like safety rules, your company policies regarding hiring, gender, whatever. So if you're an employee of Catalyst Games, you already knew their political stance. If you're a fan of Shadowrun, BattleTech, Catalyst Games, you probably already knew what their political stance was regarding the current environment. Therefore, if Catalyst Games has even 1/10 the intellect I think they have, they would be aware that their fans and their employees knew their political stance, and they would be aware how the people in the world would respond. Right? Right? I mean, I would think they would, and yet they did it anyways. So, did they get what they wanted? Was this intentional? Now, we have postulated before, by the way, this story comes from us from our good friend Grim Jim. We have postulated before that these things are intentional, that some of these companies are doing this on purpose because they know how people will respond. Goodman Games got in trouble because they did something and they didn't have to, and it got them in trouble. And you would think people at Goodman Games would know that by posting what they posted, people would have responded negatively, but they did. This goes for a lot of other companies post 2023 OGL debacle, and even going further back. Looking at the examples of previous companies, you would think these companies are aware of how we, the Twitter public, the Reddit public, the Facebook public, the YouTube public, we would respond when you posted something like, we changed our community guidelines. By the way, there was absolutely no reason for you to tell us you changed your community guidelines. Again, your employees already know them, and your fans already know them, and people who play your games probably already know your community stance, and yet you printed it anyways. You got a ton of free press. And rather than engaging in intellectual debate with people, you banned them because that got you more free press. So at the end of the day, you could be angry as hell at Catalyst Games for what they chose to do and how the world responded. You could be completely supportive of what Catalyst Games chose to do because it feels like it's a step in the right direction, or you could not fucking care because it doesn't matter, because it's a stupid game about big stompy mechs and has no real life things. But this is the most attention BattleTech and Shadowrun and Catalyst Games has gotten in a very long time. And the thing that decides things, the algorithm, well, you know what the algorithm sees? The algorithm doesn't see that you're angry at them. The algorithm doesn't see that you're complaining about the blue-haired freaks ruining BattleTech. All the algorithm sees is that you're saying BattleTech. All the algorithm sees is the number of times articles about this are getting clicks. All the shareholders see is, look, the algorithm says we're getting attention, and this is the most people have talked about Catalyst Games in a long, long time. They may be angry at us now, but for every 5 angry people, there's one person who's going, I'm going to check this Catalyst Games shit out. Because until today, I didn't pay attention to Catalyst Games. And for every one of those people who check out Catalyst Games for their own, one of them is going to go, I think you're completely wrong, and therefore I am going to support Catalyst Games, or I don't care, but thanks for bringing this BattleTech thing to my attention. Now I'm going to start buying the BattleTech shit. And Catalyst Games is going to go, look at what the algorithm says. We got a ton of free press. Tons of people are clicking our links and coming to our thing. And look, our sales jumped. Our sales jumped. The amount of attention we got jumped. All we did was print a community update that we didn't need to print. Wow. It's like, in the end, we won. So at this point, guys, you should just stop. You should just stop. You want to beat these guys at their game. You want to stop whatever it is they're doing. You want to gatekeep the changes to the community. Stop paying attention to this. Every time you post on this Catalyst Games thing or any of the other things similar to it, that's a win for them. You're going like, no, it's not. Fuck them. I'm taking my money elsewhere. That's not the way the world of business works, especially not today. All they see is the algorithm is saying they're getting attention. Again, the most attention they've gotten in a very, 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 very long time. So the best thing to do if you want to beat them, if you want to gatekeep, if you want to keep the hobby the way it is not respond. If the 20, 30 people of you who saw the article and got angry about it didn't say a damn thing, didn't repost it, guess what would happen? Catalyst Games would be exactly where they were 2 weeks ago, i.e. nobody knows who they are. What the fuck is a Shadowrun? I don't know. Isn't that D&D thing that you play with machines and computers and stuff? I guess. What the fuck is BattleTech? I don't know. It's like the cheap ripoff of Warhammer with robots or shit. I don't know. What is it? I don't know. I don't play it. I play D&D. Oh, now a bunch of people are talking about it. I better look into it. And I'm going to say this again, and I know people are going to tell me I'm bullshit. I don't know what I'm talking about. I need to shut the fuck up, and what they said was appropriate, and they want to keep the hobby safe. But you know what? Again, the hobby doesn't care. It's a big, stupid game about giant mechs. It's a big, stupid game about elves with sticks. The best way to keep the hobby safe from them is to not give them attention. Because if the algorithm doesn't see you talking about them, it won't repeat it. It'll move on. And all the attention Catalyst Games got would never have happened. Or that's just a theory. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know anything about business. Maybe I am a fucking idiot. You tell me. You tell me. You tell me what you think. Am I wrong? Were we in the right to complain about them? Did all the angry things you guys said about them actually accomplish the goal? Do you think you've changed the meter? Do you think I don't know what I'm talking about, that I'm an idiot who needs to shut up? Maybe. I don't know. I think it's something to think about, because we're going to see more of this. We're going to see more of this, and we're going to see the same responses. As somebody who worked in the studio industry for 16 years, all I see is my products getting press. If I'm a pro wrestling heel and you're booing me, I'm still getting attention. And you know whose merch sells the most at every pro wrestling event? It ain't Cody Rhodes. It's the bad guys. It's Roman Reigns. The heels sell merch. Heat gets you attention. Heat is what people remember. At least that's what I think. Anyways, that's it for today. If you appreciate this content, let me know. If you never want to hear me talk about Catalyst games again, let me know. Please stay safe if you're anywhere in the United States that's being hit by this horrible weather stuff. Let you know that we're all thinking about us. And until next time, go Catalyst Games, mighty jig stompy robots.